Okay. I want to give you some information about what you have to do for Module 3. And this is the final worksheet that you have. It's on the Apply. First is the P-level communication goal that hopefully with a little bit of feedback you changed, made better, made more specific from Module 2. Again, aligning with the standard, and you have looked at 3 different sets of standards. Maybe I think I had one person that we were talking about the essential elements for children with more challenging language needs, aligning with an IEP goal. But then the process is to kind of begin to analyze or break down that goal into steps. And I think that's where the chart or the matrix is kind of helpful. So let me go to that right here. I suggest one way to kind of think about it is to think about this matrix. Along the top is really the approach, kind of how you might teach the benchmarks towards the goal. The benchmarks, the steps toward the goal, maybe you start with very explicit instruction, then you might move to explicit but embedded in content for a class, and maybe it's in science or social studies, but connected with the curriculum. And then the third step maybe is fully embedded in the curriculum. On the other side, the other way to kind of build towards the skill or the goal that you want is to start with one-on-one instruction with the teacher and the student working together. That might be the first step. Then the second step maybe is a small group of students. And then the third would be in the regular classroom. And so the matrix really is to help you think about how you might build towards the goal, and what are the steps maybe. And your goal really is this box right here, which is language skills that are kind of in the background. The curriculum, maybe it's science, maybe it's social studies, maybe it's math, is in the foreground, but those skills are used in that context and in the regular classroom, embedded. So it kind of makes you think about where and with whom you're working. The other piece, let me see, that is important is, so again, looking at the worksheet, the first part is really clarifying the goal, aligning it, and thinking about the steps towards the goal. Then I do ask you to look at the matrix and think about your approach and the context for instruction. And then Also to think about a strategy for teaching. And you have some on Explore. There are some ideas for teaching in your chapter, your book chapter about asking questions. They have some ideas for teaching. And so for you to think about, how you might teach this communication goal. And so that's that. I'm looking at the Explore, and you have right here ideas for working with strategies. Certainly your book chapter, keys to conversation, questions being really important, scaffolding, dialogue journals, and then there's some ideas that are related to Bloom's taxonomy. So that is what week 2 looks like. Use the feedback from last module's project, and I put that up on D2L for you. All right, this is not easy. It's not like a cookbook. You have to do some thinking and kind of making your goals kind of fit in with your student and with your context. So, all right. I hope this helps.